People just feel really spread out, like they don't have the capacity to do what they want to do because they're putting out fires. We're a tool that HR departments can use.
If there's one thing you want our viewers to know, what would it be?
I guess that we exist. It's the one thing. We're the largest university in terms of enrollment in the United States.
And welcome back. Again, I'm Greg Coyne, and we're here for the MISHRM videocast. Thank you for being a part today. And we have a very special guest, as always. Today, you will be introduced to Dennis Beste. He is the Director of Strategic Partnerships. Actually, he's the Manager of Strategic Partnerships. I wanted to make sure I got that right, Dennis, from Western Governors University. So first of all, welcome, Dennis, for being a part of the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I would take that role. If you're giving me that role and a pay bump, I would take that. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Maybe we can just come up with
I think it's official. We're going to send this into the company.
Yes.
And yeah.
That's great. I would say, you're welcome, I guess is how So here's the thing. You know, many of our HR professionals and viewers that are watching today, they kind of, first of all, I think a good place to start is, what is Western Governors University? What's it all about? How to get started, and really, what is it?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people in Michigan know about us, and that's kind of one of the things that we're trying to do here, is to let people know that we exist as a resource for them. So Western Governors University is a university that was started by 19 state governors on the western side of the United States. That's why we're called Western Governors.
Perfect.
So like the governor of Idaho, the governor of Oregon, the governor of Washington, the governor of Colorado, they all saw that within their state populations, there's a ton of talent, but maybe they don't have the bridges to advance their careers, right? They don't have those opportunities. And so they said, like, how can we create pathways for these individuals to fill those roles that we need, right? Just like the state of Michigan. I want to say there's 2.3 million adults with some college, no degrees, right? And they're kind of stuck because they're working, they have families, they have other jobs and responsibilities. They want to advance their career, but how do they do that, right? And traditional education tends to be the way to do that. And we are a university, we're an accredited university, we're a nonprofit university. So we offer those same services, but we provide it in a different model, in a more flexible, a more creative model, which is something that really is available to these individuals and makes it more possible. And so these governors saw that within their states, they had all these people. So how do they create those same, common pathways, the most common pathways, which is higher education, towards advancement, right? To get your undergraduate, to get those skills, to get those certifications, to even get your graduate degree, to help their companies within their state fill those positions that they need of high need. And so that's what we do. That's where we come in. We allow those individuals to not only work, because we're built for the working adult, not only work and live their lives, but also to advance their degrees and help those states, help those companies, and help those individuals all advance together.
I love it. So, yeah, that's a great way to set that up, because where I was going was recruitment and retention. It is very much a hot topic, not just here in Michigan, but throughout the country. And part of that is you're helping these states, including Michigan, be able to increase their awareness, increase recruitment, get that retention. How does really Western Governors succinctly be able to combine those two things? Because you've got people that are graduating, but then what? So how do you help companies, businesses with recruitment and retention?
Yeah, and again, just for MISHRM or SHRM as a national organization or any other state chapter, we just try to be a resource for the organization itself, but also the companies that it partners with and serves. And some examples might be, like, we work with Amazon, right? That's a massive company.
Sure.
We upskill around 300 Amazonians per month, right? Just trying to help Amazon fill those high need positions that they have.
Wow.
But we also work with small organizations, like here in the state of Michigan, Leland Public Schools, right? It's kind of in the pinky of the mitten.
Yeah.
But we help them also advance their parapros to get teaching license, right? Just something that they're in need of. And that's really tiny. That might be like 2 a year. So whether they're large companies or small companies, we're able to work with them to help them advance their current staff and fill those positions that they need. Just really build a bench, right? Like we just talked about, when it comes to recruitment, when it comes to retention, those are expensive practices, right?
Sure.
So what can we do? How can we serve as that resource? How can we support their efforts and their goals? And that's kind of what we do. We help upskill and advance their current employees to make sure that they have a pool of candidates internally to fill those roles. And that helps them, right? It saves them cost. They don't have to go through more recruiting efforts, but also helps their culture.
Yeah.
Right? It helps them build that sense of, when you come to a job here, not only, are we going to provide you with a daily paycheck, but we're also going to provide you with not just a job, but a career, right? You can grow with us, right? You can just start here and become and have that end mission, and we can help you reach that point.
I love it. So
Yeah.
how does a company come to Western Governors and say, hey, I'm thinking about doing this? How would they approach you about potentially building a program like you're talking about?
Yeah, we're very open and flexible. Any type of conversation or any type of support, please let us know, because we are willing to do that. And it does really vary. So like I mentioned, Amazon, that was an RFP, right? They just put out a request to a lot of different universities,
Yeah.
and they chose us. They chose us for a lot of different reasons. Not only are we more affordable, we're about a third of the cost of, let's say, Eastern or Central or Michigan State or U of M. So
Yeah.
that really helps companies, especially if they provide that tuition assistance. Our tuition's about $7,500 for 12 months.
Okay.
If you offer $5,250, which is like the legal limit that you can get a tax break for, I mean, that means your employee is only covering $2,000 to advance their degree, which is really
incredible.
great. Yeah, it's such a deal for them. But yeah, with the Amazon, we had to kind of change our model a little bit to accompany them, and that's something that we're willing to do. Same thing with McDonald's. So McDonald's is another large partner that we have nationally. And same thing, they have something called Hamburger University, which I
Really?
think is the best name for a university. But they have Hamburger University, and so what we did was build pathways off of something that they already have existing.
Okay.
So it really just kind of depends on what they want to do. But even smaller organizations, like let's go back to Leland. So
Yeah.
Leland Public Schools, again, maybe 2 people that they're going to help advance throughout a calendar year. But we're working with them to not only promote the opportunity to grow, because they want licensed teachers, and we can help them create those, but also bring in other partners. Like we're working with Northwestern Michigan College, which is up in Traverse City,
Yeah.
about how do we add to their pipeline. And that's something else that we can do. Again, we're a massive institution. We have about 131,000 students. Actually, it's 133,000 students. And we are nationwide. And so we have nationwide partnerships. We also have local partnerships. But all of those resources are something that we can help companies do. Another example would be Henry Ford Health.
Okay.
And so we're partnered with Henry Ford Health to help upskill their staff to either fill high-need roles like being a nurse, being a technician, just any other field that they may need. And we're also not only doing it ourselves, but working with Henry Ford College to, again, filter talent into Henry Ford Health. And then while they're at Henry Ford Health working, we can help them grow.
Okay.
So there's a lot of different resources that we have, whether it's community colleges, there's also nonprofits. Per Scholas is an IT nonprofit that is really amazing if no one knows about it. But what
Why
it
don't you
does,
talk about
it
that?
provides IT skills to underprivileged and underserved individuals. It'll give them like a CompTIA A+ certification,
Okay.
which is an intro IT certification. But then we help those individuals get placed into companies or corporations, again, large or small, and then we can help them grow. So with our IT programs, well, one, we accept certifications as credit, but also we add on to the certifications they go into. So if you're going into like cloud computing, you'll become like AWS certified, right? Or Azure certified, whatever it may be. But all these certs and the degrees, and again, growing within the company.
This is incredible. I mean, again, that's why I'm happy you're here, Dennis, because I think a lot of people, both HR professionals, business-wise, you have great partnerships. But a lot of people in Michigan probably don't know this, and that's a problem. And so here's another thing that I want to find out about. We've all heard, again, about talent acquisition, recruitment, all of this. But what have you seen as the biggest hurdle, especially here in Michigan, with regards to getting that talent or upgrading that talent? What do you see as kind of a bit of a gap? And I'm sure many of the people watching will probably admit or agree with your choice, but I'm kind of curious because everyone's has been different.
Yeah, and I think we have a different perspective because we are not like in HR, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
we're not on that side.
Yeah.
We're a tool that HR departments can use. And I think like one of the biggest things is just time, to be honest. I mean, that's a little bit maybe not the answer that you were looking for, but just from our perspective, I feel like it's just time. Like we all, whether you're in HR or you're an employee, right, or you're someone who supports HR departments and employees, it's just time. Like people, I think, are spread so thin, right?
Okay.
You talk about like the pandemic and all the extra pressure that's been put onto people, the upheaval, whether it's like, adapting to a remote workforce, just the change and adaptation of life, I think affects people's work life too. And I think that makes people spread a little bit thin. Like we just talk about the resources that we have. Sometimes it's just time. Like people say, that'd be great, I just don't have the time to do that right now. And again, that's from our perspective. When it comes to the field of HR, I'm sure they see a lot of different things, like, a thinning of talent, right? A smaller population to pull from, right? Employees, or I guess you could say potential applicants, having more competing responsibilities, right? Like there's a lot of different things that go into that from an HR perspective. But just from our perspective, I think, people just feel really spread out, right? They feel really like they don't have the capacity to do what they want to do because they're putting out fires. So it's hard to like look in advance and establish a system that maybe could help them grow, and they know would help them grow, but they just have so much on their to-do list now.
Yeah, well, and I think that's a great point because with the remote workforce that's increased, and I don't see this going away at all. I think I've joked with colleagues, friends, acquaintances. I'm like, it's been happening for years, and quite frankly, the last 2 years, it's just been expedited. And but what I want to find out is the fact that we talked about companies, businesses, communities approaching Western governors. What I want to find out is how do you, for lack of a better word, target some of the businesses, communities, clients that you think you'd be a good fit for? Because I kind of put in the shoe on the other foot, so to speak. How do you go about it?
Yeah, no, we definitely do outreach, whether it's just through networking informally at events like that MISHRM hosts. We're part of the Detroit Regional Chamber Talent Compact. But also it's just listening to problems. Again, I think about the teacher shortage, right? Or the nursing shortage, or the IT shortage, right? Like those are all things that are just in the news.
Yeah.
And so then we reach out to organizations and say, is this something that you're also facing? Typically they are. And then we can have those conversations of what type of solutions that we can provide, not only from upskilling within, but how can we use our partners to help you? Like there's another conversation that I had with another amazing program called Ann Arbor Spark, but they're receiving MEDC money, and they're able to help organizations, again, small or large, and cover half of an internship in a STEM field, so really just IT, which is amazing. Like I'm sure every company would say, I can have this intern for half off. Like that seems like a deal, but I think it's just going back to it, just time, right? There's just so many things that they're going on, so many competing responsibilities that they may have. But that's another program that when we talk to organizations, we say, not only can we help you, but we have this whole network of other partners that we collaborate with, whether it's through the Detroit Regional Chamber or through our own connections, that we can help bring to the conversation, bring to your organization, again, whether you're large or small, and help you to reach your goals.
I love it. So many things that our guests are, or I should say our viewers are picking up from WGU right now. One thing I'm kind of curious though, in all the things that you've already mentioned, I got to think, and maybe it was one that you've already mentioned, but I'm kind of curious, if there's one thing that you want our viewers to know that they may not know about WGU, what would it be? I'm just kind of curious.
I guess that we exist. It's the one thing. We are, like I mentioned, we're the largest university in terms of enrollment in the United States. We have 133,000 students. To put that in perspective, Michigan State, I think, is the largest institution here in the state of Michigan.
Yes.
They're at like 45, so we're about 3 times their size. But again, because we started in the West and we're kind of moving eastward, not a lot of people know about us, but just knowing that we, or I guess they, have a resource that exists for them, right? Not only us, definitely we can help them grow their talent internally, help them build their bench. We're doing that with Huntington Bank, right? We're doing that with Rocket Mortgage, right? We're doing it with all these companies. And again, those are larger companies, but we also work with smaller companies. We're doing it with all these companies, but yeah, it's kind of like a word of mouth thing that we're doing right now. And hopefully more people can realize that we exist, right? More people can say that I've never heard of Western Governors University, but I heard that they can be a resource. Again, not only just us, but in our collaborative nature, wanting to bring in other organizations that we work with, again, just being in that nonprofit circle that we work with to help those companies, right? Maybe it's not just us that helps pay for that internship, but we know this other company that we can bring to the table and help you along with us, right? So it's numerous services that we can help you with.
Love it. And I would ask this. I'm hoping that a lot of our viewers understand that you are a great resource for them. And look at, you said it before, all of the HR professionals, not just HR, but all parts of companies are stretched thin now. All right, we're asking more time. We're having less barriers to entry in terms of what we can do with time because now a lot of people are working from home. I want them to be able to reach out and connect with you. So if they're going to do so, what's a great means that they can? How can they reach out to you, Dennis?
Yeah, I think the best way is just to connect via email.
Okay.
And my email address is just my name. My name is Dennis Beste. So it's Dennis, Dennis, BESTE @wgu.edu. And that's really the best way. And we're always open to conversations. Again, some people come from left field, they have these ideas, and maybe it's something that we can't specifically address, but maybe we bring in another partner. Like hospitals need medical assistants, right? That's a huge thing.
Yes.
We don't have a medical assistant program, but we have a partner that does provide that, right? And again, that's us bringing them in. We just want to be a solution, right? We're just trying to help advance obviously companies and organizations, but individuals. That's why we were created, that's why we exist. And if we can bring in other corporations, other nonprofits, other organizations to help do that, we're happy to do that. It doesn't have to just be us. Like, let's all work together to have all boats rise.
Love it. I love it. Dennis, thank you so much for being on today. It was wonderful. I appreciate it. And to all of you, again, this is Dennis Beste from Western Governors University. He is the manager of strategic partnerships, and hopefully you will take the time to reach out to Dennis and his group to potentially build a partnership. So thank you again, Dennis. And I myself, Greg Coyne, your host this time around for the MISHRM videocast. Thank you for being here, and until next time, have a great one, everyone. Thanks for watching.